Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com. And by Medical Arts Hearing Instruments, 52 West Street in Leominster, locally and authentically providing better hearing and quality of life since 1978. www.donotshout.com.
Hello, and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella. Happy to be with you today. And this is, part of our Inside Leominster, but also our afternoon update. And we're going to go to the phones to talk to the very famous, known across the country, but especially in North Leominster, and the Gardner Golf Course, none other than the great. The great, and I mean great. In fact, he sat in the front row at school because his name was Art. Time for the Art Report.
Well, you know, every now and then this gray matter that's attached to my shoulders comes up with something that I think is, I never thought of in all my years.
Brad, I can't hear out here. Brad, hang on one second, Art. Let me turn up the volume, like that song. Bass, pound. Turn up the volume. How about now, Art? Try it now.
Loud and clear. Okay.
Yeah, I can't hear Art, you guys.
Is that okay now?
No, hang on. They'll adjust.
Okay.
Go ahead, get started, and they'll adjust the volume.
Okay. I just thinking today, it amazes me that I still think Leominster is a little village, but our city is surrounded and has going through it water. It's everywhere. And I started listening from streams at Searstown to down through the center of town in Leominster. Pierce Pond, Rockwell's. We got the Nashua River.
Yep. Rockwell Pond, Pierce Pond, right.
Yeah. We got Massapog at the end of Judy Drive. Now, that's a new one. We got the stream that goes in back of Sears.
We
remember. Speck Pond.
What's that?
Speck Pond, which is around. It's close by.
Yes.
Lake Wareham. It's everywhere.
We are surrounded by hills, and the water flows downhill, right? So
exactly.
The 12 hills of Leominster, flow down, and also remember the elevation from when you go west of here. The elevation climbs up, right? It goes. You go to Mount Elam Road, and it climbs, and the residual.
All the way to Gardner. Every day.
Yeah, and that excess from the reservoir goes where?
Yep.
Down the stream into Rockwell, which goes into the Manusnock, which goes into the Nashua, which eventually ends up in the ocean, right?
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yes.
It's interesting. And there's beauty attached to it, no matter how you look at it.
Absolutely, from the mountains to the valleys, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Crazy stuff. Outside of that, the weather's getting better. The virus is starting to slow down. Thank God we have a dear friend that's fighting it and seems to be doing better.
Yeah, tough, I'll tell you.
It's a scary thing.
If you've got a pre-existing condition or you've been hospitalized in the past for something, there's no time to give up here in terms of protecting yourself. So
exactly.
It's more than half, 60-something% of those that passed away from this have done so in and not because I don't think of any fault of anyone in the nursing homes or assisted living. I think it's just they didn't have the supplies. The supplies were geared towards hospitals and getting ready for the surge. And the surge never really happened, or it did, but it didn't. and the supplies didn't get to the nursing homes till later. That's my thoughts on this.
Everything is, I think, it seems like there's a level of frustration building over the way of life that we've had to adjust to because of that. And because of the frustration, I think more crazy things are happening in this country, and I hope we can put the brakes on.
Yeah, no, there needs to be, no one's listening to anybody. Everybody's trying to preserve its own side, and there aren't those, not peacemakers, but those mediators in the middle who say, okay, let's sit down. Here's a list here. Here's some things happening here. And I mean, look at the police departments. They're saying, well, listen, we're not all bad police officers. We don't cast judgment on any particular anybody, and yet we are police officers. We protect and we serve. And are there bad police officers? Absolutely. Have we had a few? Yes, we have. Did we have to deal with them? Yes, we did. Are there in every police agencies? Yes, but for the most part, men and women who do the job to help out. You know, every single person that I've interviewed before we hire them as police officers, I asked, so why do you want to do this? And you know, by and large, most of the responses, I want to get back to my community. I want to help somebody. I'm hoping to make a difference in my community. I am hoping to, to help out, to make a difference in some kid's life somewhere along the way. I'm here. I'm hoping to do more better than not, and to make some change. And so that's, so everyone's kind of get their own position in place, and is sort of, if you watch Facebook, it's like a legal case. Everyone's trying to back up their claim. There's nobody in the middle to say, okay, so let's chat about this. Let's see where we can make things better, right? Who said it?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that in every walk of life, in every position, I don't care what the job is, from baling hay to going to the moon, you've got good and bad. Yeah. And you're going to have turnover.
Right.
I mean, I worked for a company with 150,000 people at one time. We had turnover. Mm-hmm. We had bad apples. That happens. And it doesn't matter what level of expertise you have or choose to do. So what you may perceive as correct is not correct, and unfortunately, no attention is paid to the normal type jobs. But when someone that carries a badge, or someone that carries a hose, or so, if they have any kind of a title or exposure to the public, if they make a mistake, it becomes very big, and it grows and grows and grows. And that's very unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
And I've gotten a few emails, not a lot, but a few that say, so, what's the city doing? And I said, well, what's the city doing? We were once under consent order by the federal government to hire minorities, and we were like, well, our department should look a lot like the community, should be reflective of the community. So we went out and recruited. We went out, and everywhere we went, every church, I don't care where we went, we were spreading the word, putting it up on, social media at the time, but we were putting it up anywhere we could get. On these shows where we did Inside Leominster, always saying, hey, test is coming up. You know anybody good? Let's get them out there, get them to sign up. Everybody I ran into, I'm like, hey, you got a kid, good kid, right? Think about being not everybody wants to be a police officer or a firefighter. But we're not under a consent order any longer, and I continue to go out all the time to different churches. I try to, cities now kind of having these group sessions, and there's nothing wrong with it, but getting together and but it's limited. And so you can't just do that like when something happens. You got to be out there all the time in the community, talking with people, getting a sense of things, having a good pulse on things. And, but anyway, so listen, I've been at it 10 years as a cop, 27 years as mayor, and for the chief of police in Minneapolis to suddenly think that all of a sudden he knows he's got some problems in the police department, and the city council they've had problems right along. So what are they talking about? Making major changes? Yeah, I applaud them for that, but they've had problems right along. They've had police shootings. They've had other situations going on.
The most absurd thing I ever heard was taking money away from police departments.
Yeah, I think it's just out of frustration. I think in the end.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean,
need
we can't give the cities and towns back to the crooks.
Yeah. No, you need.
I don't think that would work out too well.
You got to look for the voice of reason, the people that jump in the middle and say, okay, well, let's time out, deep breath. What can we do better, right? And
That's it.
And
That's
you know,
it.
in our police department, if there's a complaint, myself and the chief see every single complaint. It's accountability, top down, bottom up, right? It's just not.
Yeah.
Accountability starts with the poor guy at the bottom or the poor lady at the bottom. It only makes its way up in rank, or it only makes it up to the person that's been here, 5 years. But after that, there's no accountability. Accountability is top down, bottom up, everywhere, right? All the way around.
It never hurts to say thank you either.
Right. No,
The
but I'm
other
just saying.
day, I was coming down Day Street, and I put on my directional, and I looked, and there was a police officer parked on Judy, doing traffic duty.
Yep.
I looked in my mirror. There was nobody behind me, and I know there's not a lot of traffic on my street. So I stopped, and I dropped my window down. He turned and looked at me and smiled, and I said, thank you. I appreciate what you're doing here. You're going to have writer's cramp. Well, he started laughing. He says, you're welcome, sir. And I said, feel free to use my driveway if you'd like. He started laughing some more. And I said, what a pleasant experience,
Yeah.
And he was a real nice guy. I don't know his name.
Good bunch.
I've never seen him before.
We have a good
but
group.
he was polite, respectful, and we had a good laugh with each other.
Good. Well, anyway, I'm all but willing. I've done interest arbitration for 17, 18 years. I consider myself more diplomatic than when I first started, and more experience, good and bad. Experience isn't just good and bad. More experiences, and lend myself or anybody else to the middle ground here that says, okay, let's have a conversation, but deep breath. Understand what happened is certainly not. There's nobody that's like a few people maybe, but very few people that said, what happened is acceptable. Now, that police officer had to post bail and the others, and they're going to have a trial, and they're going to be a jury trial, assume, and all that. But in the meantime, how can we make things better? That's what I'm all for putting energy. Remember what Tom Brady said? They caught him. After the first game, remember he was out. He was on a four-game suspension, and when he came back, the whole place went crazy. I mean, they're all in support of Tom Brady, but it went crazy, and what a feeling it must have been. And so they said to Tom Brady after, they said, "So how did it feel? I mean, geez, all those people screaming and yelling, in support of you and everything. It must have felt great." And he said, "I couldn't put my emotions over there because I only have so much energy, and I really had to focus on the game, on winning the game. That's why I'm here." And you see what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody only has so much energy, so much time, so much emotion. So
good point.
You want to put it towards something constructive and something that's going to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
And certainly we have everybody's attention. Step one, get everybody's attention, right? Not that the death was a way to get attention, but now we have everybody's attention. So now it's like, okay, so now what are we going to do, right? We're going to have these conversations. Everybody's going to have an opinion. I get it. In the meantime, what positive change will come, right? Simple as that.
Having said that, one more quickie, and I'm going to let you go.
Yes.
The leaves are as big as a catcher's mitt on the fruit tree.
All right.
Get ready.
All
Looks
right.
like a
tie a yellow
crop.
ribbon around the old fig tree.
Yes, you got it. See you later.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
978-537-7760. That's the number to call. That's the famous Art from the Art Report. More people know Art than they know me. But we are live here until, about 5 o'clock, and Judy Sumner will be joining me in a minute. She's the head of the Recreation Department. We have a great Recreation Department, great staff, and we also have a great Recreation Commission. And not only the commissioners, but they also are very active in the Recreation Department in terms of showing up for events. They are active supporters beyond being sort of the board of directors, etc. So anyway, if you have any questions right now, by all means, please email me. You can Facebook message me here, and I'll see them. I don't see any right now. Looks like people are watching, but I don't see any questions. But by all means, if you'd like to call 978-537-7760, extension 3, and they'll put you on with me. Or if you just want to ask a question, either Keith or Bradley will be back there, and they can always, you can hang up and they'll ask the question for you. Before I was coming here, I did get a couple of interesting emails today about cutting the school department budget. I want to make sure this is clear because I've lived through this once. And misinformation I got no issue at all with correct information, but I've lived through this misinformation piece in the past, and it had consequences. The city has not, and you can repeat this, you can share this because it is on Facebook, so you can share this. The city has increased the school department budget. Now remember, we don't know what the actual budget is going to be, so we submitted a budget that is what we call level service budget, because the state hasn't given us a budget yet. So we had a couple of options. One is to go to a 1/12 budget, which means you could spend 1/12 of the budget, but again, you can't spend over that. So let's say that July, August, and September, or maybe October are busy months, and you tend to make certain purchases ahead of time in anticipation of, like school supplies, whatever it might be. Then you're limited to a 1/12 budget, and maybe you don't spend as much in June as you spend in the month of September. So what we decided the best thing to do was to show that we were increasing the school department budget from the city standpoint of over 1.1. It's around 1.1 million. But again, we've put it over here. We've given it to the city council, the budget, because we want to get a budget passed, so we have it. And we've set it over here and sent a letter, which anybody wants to see, I'll be glad to post up on Facebook. And I'll also email you a copy. And basically what it says is, no, this is what it says. It says this is a level service budget for right now. And until we know what the numbers are from the state, that's what it's going to be. So already misinformation out there that the city's cutting the school budget. Now, what might be happening is the state is projecting, Mass Tax Base Foundation, you can look and see, they actually issued another opinion today, that the state's going to be facing a $6 billion shortfall in revenue. And to sort of, what's that feel like? Well, if you remember when Governor Romney was here, we were faced with $3 billion worth of offset anticipated revenues. And he had to do mid-year because he got elected in January. So he had to do mid-year cuts. And those cuts were all across the board, evenly across the cities, towns, schools. I think schools were exempt from it, but just shows you the magnitude. This is double. This is double of the taxes that the revenues anticipated are now been downward, forecasted downward to be about $6 billion short. So the state has not released the numbers. Last year they told us there was going to be another $1.9 million coming to the schools. We don't know if that commitment is still there. And so maybe that's the confusion, but the city is not cutting the school department budget. And oftentimes I've been through the budget process enough that maybe the school department asks for $2 million, but they get $1.1 million increase, and sometimes they call it a cut because they asked for $2 and only get $1. Well, if it was $500,000 last year and it's $1 million this year, but you asked for $2, it's still an increase. So I'm making sure I get the information out there soon. The city is not cutting the school budget. It is increasing the school budget by $1.1 million minimum. And if that $6 billion shortfall from the state, is a result in cuts from the school department, then obviously that is a whole nother situation. So I want to get ahead of the curve here and make sure that everyone understands it. The city council will start the budget process next week. You could dial in ahead, but I've seemed to be getting the same emails from the same people from the last time this all started. So again, once again, and just so that my priorities, and I do have some control. I'm not the chair. Remember last time it was you're responsible for the $5 million cut that the schools had to suffer because you're the chair of the school. I'm not the chair of the school committee any longer. But here's what I will tell you, that I still have some control on what happens. And if that happens, and if you're a teacher out there, if you're somebody that works in a classroom, and you can, I'll say this publicly, and I have already, and I said it at a school committee meeting, and I'll say it now. My priority as mayor, not personally Dean Mazzarella, because yes, that's it. That's my priority, and as mayor of the city and as a school committee member, my priority is you take the budget. You start off with a piece of white paper, and you take all our schools, and you start off with, you know how many students there are going to be. And then you take the teachers, and you start filling up the classroom. That's the first priority. Then, obviously, you need a principal or somebody to lead the school. I've said this also publicly. If you wanted to take the budget and make every school independent, and give every school a budget and let the schools do the purchasing, let the schools, now it may require an extra, clerical person or an administrative assistant, and allow them to operate their school independently. Just, you can get creative as you want, you can hire who you want, you can explore, be creative, you can do anything you want. That's Dean Mazzarella's opinion on public education. So you start off with the white piece of paper, you fill up, right? That's how we do it with the police department. We've got 5 cruisers, walk and beat, car 6, whatever it might be, and we start. That's it. Well, we know we have to fill these positions, and we go down and we get to the end of the budget. We're like, we wanted to make another lieutenant, we wanted to make another sergeant, want to add somebody to the drug unit, can't do it. Wanted to add somebody to training, can't do it. Why can't we do it? We don't have the money to do it, right? So that's prioritizing the budget. And so that is my so whatever control I have over increases, whatever it might be on the budget, my priority is very public. I've said it already, said it to the counselors, is kids in the classroom, teachers first. That's the first thing. And then you work your way the other way. And if there are going to be cuts, they're going to have to be the other way, right? That's because you need kids in a classroom and you can't learn without the teacher. Most important, cannot learn without the teacher. So that's where I am. That's my 5-minute dissertation on priorities of public education. Okay, let's go to the phone lines. Hello?
Hey, buddy.
Oh, you're still hanging on. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
How are you?
Get to be patient, they said. Patient to virtue.
Patient. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
So you got out and about yesterday, I heard.
Yes, I went to go see Sharon on Tuesday.
Did it feel good to get out?
Yes.
Oh, good. It was a nice
I
day.
did pay for my phone bill and all that stuff.
Oh, good. We've had good sleeping weather at night.
Yes. So how you been, buddy?
I'm good. Busy. We are very busy. And now things are getting busier because the world's waking up. And I once had, I had control. I had the ability to drive around. And there's nobody on the streets. And now there are people on the streets. So I'm having to recalculate my trips to make sure I leave myself enough time.
I think you need to make yourself a flying carpet.
That, or I need one of those little flying machines, right?
Yes.
With a little engine on the back that's powered by solar.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All righty.
Over out. 10-4.
10-4.
Bye.
978-537-7760. That's the number to call, extension 3. Judy Sumner is going to make her way. We'll get her mic'd up. You don't even need to take a commercial. I'll just keep reading because outdoor dining. Here you go. Now, some outdoor dining are able to do alcohol, right? And some have decided not to. But here are the different restaurants that are doing outdoor dining as part of phase 2. But contact each restaurant directly to make sure of their operating hours. So, I mean, just downstairs at 435, a whole new look. When you're allowed to go back into the restaurant, a whole new look. It looks awesome in there. They've done the floors over. So for a lot of places, they've took advantage of having the time to be able to do the things that typically they wouldn't be able to do. 110 Grill, Apple Hill Farm and Country Club, Applebee's Grill and Bar, Athens Pizza on Central Street, the Columbia Tavern, Comaquito, Brazilian Cuisine, the Daily Bagel Cafe, Denny's, the Gaz Bar, Happy Jack's, Hot Shots, El Camino, Lucas American Kitchen, Moe's Southwest Grill, Manusnaut Country Club, North End Diner, Shake and Dog, Super Wings, Tequila El Amigo, 2 Texas Roadhouse, Uno's Pizzeria and Grill, West End Diner, and we'll continue to update it if you want to let Melissa know at mtasker@leominster-ma.gov. Which retail businesses opened the other day under Phase 2? Adams Tool and Nail, Buzz and Thrive Gardens, Central Flag and Gift, Primitive Decor, Furniture Gifts, City Musics, Cutiques, Cutie Patooties, Gardner Outlet Furniture, The Gardener Spot, Garapy Furniture, Habitat for Humanity, Hall of Fame of Leominster, Home Goods of Leominster, J&J Consignment, The Mall at Whitney Field, Marcoux Upholstery, Marshall's, Northeast Promotion and Apparel, The Paper Store, Play It Again Sports, Retail Entertainment, Yard Sale Store, that's retail entertainment, Sage Home Collections, Sam's Furniture and Liquidation Outlet, Southern Daisy's Boutique, and TJ Maxx, to name the ones that we... Now, if there are additional ones, by all means, email mtasca, T-A-S-C-A, at leominster-ma.gov. Just want to take the minute. Oh, I guess I can't do that because my phone died. But let's see. You guys if you have a charger, you can just bring it out just so I can read the new numbers. If you don't worry about it. Anyway, important phone numbers. If you're trying to reach somebody within city government, can't find it, they haven't got back to you for some reason, some complications, 978-534-7500, extension 0. Emergency management at 978-534-7500. Judy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're so far away, I need binoculars.
I know, huh?
I got my glasses fixed.
I brought mine for reading in case I need that.
It was like a I Spy movie. I had to go and call ahead and leave my glasses in a mailbox, and then somebody came out, and it was like confession, you know. And then I had to go back and then put them back in there, and then they fixed them, and then they brought them out, and then they ran inside, and then I went and picked my glasses up, and I'll go back and they can actually adjust them, but I was walking around like this for a while. So anyway, we're back. Thank you, buddy. You're going to give me your little power pack? You're the best. And I am going to order one, but I did get another battery pack thing. But you got to have the wire. I mean, it's not quick. The other thing's perfect. Okay, Judy, thanks for coming on. Great job up there. Got a lot of under your umbrella in terms of responsibility, but it really heats up, no pun intended, in the summer months when it gets busy. Sure. And so this year it'll be a little bit different, and everyone's asking questions about, are we going to have the programs? Or my kid has a summer job usually. You're going to have the job. So let's start from the beginning, and that is that the state is sort of putting out all of the guidelines in terms of what we can and can't do.
Yes. So in terms of our summer programs, this year we're not allowed to use schools. So therefore, we looked for another location for our programs, and the only location that we have with some indoor space and some bathrooms is Barrett Park. We have a small program building there, so we can fit 10 children in the upstairs of the building, and we believe we can fit 7 in the basement. We're still recalculating and moving things around.
Let's explain. The reason we have to use the schools, this is why we need the schools, is because when the programs really started, people working, right? They need the programs. And as the programs begun to sort of fill up and build and the programs grew, when you have a sudden, like today, I knew we were going to, possibility of thunderstorms in the afternoon, but all of a sudden around 10 or 11, the skies just opened up. You have a thunderstorm, you have to have a place to go, you can't just put up a tarp.
Yes.
So that's why we need the schools, and also for restrooms.
Yes.
So without those, then we have to go back to Plan B, which is to use any existing facilities that we have, and we're limited as far as that goes.
Correct. So in the past, we've had about 300 children a day. We've opened our programs from 7:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night. We were told that we need to do limited hours because the children will have to, if they're indoors, they have to wear masks. And we can only have a limited number of children as well.
So we're going to try to do programs outside.
Correct. So they're encouraging as many programs outside as possible. So we only have 2 programs that we have indoors. So we can only have 17 children a day each week indoors. Right. So we took your advice, Mayor, and we are offering the mountain biking program. Erin Van Tool has a great following for her mountain biking program. Awesome. She's a teacher over at Samoset School. So they're going out on the trails of Leominster State Forest and the Leominster trails, and the children are going to mountain bike. So we can take about 18 children in that. She's going to have another instructor helping her. So we can have 2 groups of 10 with that group. And that's filling up right now for registrations. Also, we have Rich Barnaby, the baseball coach. He's going to do 2 weeks of baseball camp.
Nice.
So he can take 2 groups of 9 also, so he can take 18 in his program outside. The only thing is, both those programs, if it rains, then they have to be canceled. So we built in like a rain date in there. So if it rains one day, we'll go on the Friday. So that's kind of built in, that's an understanding. Also, we'll be doing a hiking program at Barrett Park. Art O'Leary, who is
he's outstanding.
Is a scout leader and president of the Sportsman's Club. He said he can help us a little bit with the hiking also. He's got some ideas for some programming, and also we have a lot of our staff from last year that will be coming back to help us with that. And then also we're going to do an outdoor fitness and sports conditioning program out in the ball field, and we have the playground pavilion that we'll use for having like a shaded area. So if there's just like a little bit of light rain that comes,
right,
you can still kind of go under the pavilion. But if there's thunder and lightning, chance of that, or tornadoes or hurricanes, we just have to totally cancel our programs.
So the other thing that we're looking at is there might be there's Amy's Art Tavern.
Yes.
Is partnerships with other, you can paint, or the program, the lady that is, name is escaping me, but at the Gallagher Building. So we're looking for partnerships where possibility of being able to offer programs that we can partner with for like art. So maybe the Sportsman's Club, maybe they can run a program because they have an indoor facility up there and they have restrooms. Right. We're looking into more of those. We really don't want to cancel our programs, but without being able to access the schools for emergency. Remember, when it's nice, we have everybody outside. But day like today, parents can't always make arrangements. So we were running programs from 8 in the morning till 6, 7 o'clock at night. That's a long day, but we were able to do that because we had facilities to be able to do that. We no longer have the schools, so we have to use whatever facilities that we have control of.
So in our program building, we're going to do a STEM program. So I have a couple of teachers that are going to help us with that program. And then under the pavilion on the beach, and they'll use the basement if it rains of the program building, we're going to do kind of an art with a movement type. They'll do yoga movements, dance movements, and things of that nature. That one will be out in the field by that area. So the park will be kind of closed. Some areas of the park will be closed to the public because those are areas that we will have designated for our summer programs. People can still come and walk around the park. Sure. And our program will only be in the mornings. Some of our programs will start at 8:30 in the morning, and then everything will be done by 12:30.
I think it's important for those that might be watching to understand that many communities around the state have said, just not doable. There's just no way to pull this off. That's heartbreaking. And other communities are, they might have the financial ability or the capabilities of not, there are people that every day Route 2 is getting fuller and fuller. I mean, more and more people are going back to work. Families counted on us to run these programs. So we're trying to keep as many programs running as we possibly can and then stay within the guidelines and the recommendations of the CDC. And so it's impossible to hire back. We used to hire 100 people in the summer program. Impossible for us to do that. We've notified all of those young adults and those that worked with us, right? We've notified them all that if you can find another job somewhere, go ahead. We're not going to be able to run the programs that we once did. Let's shift gears for a minute. Let's talk about the splash parks and the pools.
Okay. Well, we are looking at opening the pool on Saturday, June 27th, under the guidance of the state recommendations and the CDC recommendations, and it's going to be restricted this year. We are only allowed to have, with the social distancing, we figured we can only have 85 people in at the pool at one time. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer 2-hour blocks for everyone, so that every 2 hours you purchase your pass for a 2-hour block, and that gives more people in the community ability to be able to come to the pool.
Some families used to go there first thing in the morning, and I mean, let's face it, I mean, that's the purpose of it, and they enjoyed it and stayed there all day. That's not going to be an option anymore. You're going to have to, we're going to have to move people through by time, correct?
Correct. So what we're going to do is, if you have so many people already passes sold for the 2-hour block, if people aren't there within the half hour of that block time, if they don't come, then we can give away your time slot to someone else that has a permit, or if there's someone that wanted to come for the day on a day pass. But it's going to be very difficult. We may limit the number. I'm going to have to talk to the state of people just coming in off the street, because we have to track everyone's name, their address, their email, their phone, and how to contact them so that if there is
Somebody
a
tests
report that
positive.
there was
Now, these are all
anyone
state
positive,
requirements. If you're going to open the pool, this is how you
Yes.
need to do it.
Yes.
So somebody, people are posting on here, why don't we just put up tents? Well, the reason is we did that at the very beginning. We would post, we'd put up tents and put porta potties or whatever. But when a storm comes in, trust me, the tents don't hold up. Parents get extreme, they start calling,
Right.
and you have lightning. And once lightning starts, you don't know where that's going to go. And that's the whole purpose behind going inside one of the school buildings. We can't do that anymore. So
Right.
we're limited. And so we're just trying to make the best rather than just abandoning the whole season. And I see community after community saying, it's not worth the risk. We're not going to do it. I think you can't do it to the extent that you did it before. But enough businesses, who already do things. So if there's a gym in town, right, a small personal fitness, and they want to do fitness training, we'll partner with them.
Right.
But they do have to follow the same sort of guidelines. But we'll partner with them. Maybe they offer a reduced amount. Maybe we help them with that. Maybe we get sponsors. But we're really trying to keep everyone as busy as possible and make it as normal, if you can use that word any longer. But this has been a challenge, and communities have cut it loose because they thought the risk associated with this is just too much to the employees, and one lawsuit or whatever it is. And so we're trying to do it, trying to get it done, follow the guidelines,
Right.
make sure it's safe, and still offer some summer programs.
Right. So in terms of the splash park,
Yes.
At Fournier Park, the controller just came in today, and that will be installed tomorrow. So we're looking at possibly opening Fournier Park without monitoring right away, maybe for the weekend, or
At your own risk.
Right now, it would be at your own risk, but what I believe, once it gets really warm in the summer, we're looking at monitoring and having a gate monitor there and only allowing people in for 2 hours and then tracking. We're still on the fence in terms of whether or not we're just going to open it this Saturday. We'll have a discussion about that. The splash park at 3rd Street, the Louis Charpentier water park there and playground, that one we fixed the rubber surfacing that had some divots in it and some humps in that, and that's been fixed. And the water
And then the park behind it
Yes.
is going to go online, and it's
Yeah.
shady, and there's a little
Right.
park in
Yeah.
there, and kids can now play on the recreation equipment.
I don't know if the one below is open just yet because
No, I said-
they're growing grass
I
right
said,
now.
But
Yes.
in the summer,
Yes.
they'll have another chance to
Yeah,
use
we
another
can
park.
open up the gates from the playground up above.
Right.
They can run down or roll down the hill and play
I'm in fashion.
multiple areas.
I'm in favor of the old-fashioned, open up the hydrant, let the kids done, or put up a sprinkle and let the kids run through it.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's kind of because I
Yes.
know for a lot of families,
Yeah.
they counted on our programs in the summer and their
yeah.
enrichment programs. They
Yes.
learn a lot about
Yeah.
team building, about respect for each other, and it's sad.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is
Yeah.
is a 1 year kind of thing. But just to let you know, we've had lots of conversations, probably for the last 13 or 14 weeks. Judy and I have had a number of conversations about this. And we didn't want to just cancel the season. We really wanted to try to offer as much as we possibly can.
Well, a lot of parents are telling me, we just want the children have been in too much with too many adults. We
Right.
want them to get out, to do some activities. And there are guidelines put out, by the state. And so we're following all of those. And there's also American Camping Association has a huge document of all of the guidelines for offering summer programs in your communities. And so by following all the guidelines, making sure that we do the social distancing, children wear their mask, we will talk about hand sanitizing, we monitor everyone coming in and fill out the questionnaires. So we're following all the guidelines and
Let me just jump to this, Judy, just for a minute before. It's about 4:44, and we're 44 minutes into the show, and so I don't want to lose. I know people watch for the updates, but total cases in Massachusetts are up 354. Deaths are up 37. Total tests today, we're up to 11,000. It's gone up from 7,800. And Worcester County, new cases 65. In Leominster, we're 158 active. That's down 5. And 464 complete. That's up 7. So remember, that's the number we want to go down. That's the active cases. And the number that we want to go up is the cases coming off, testing positive and isolation and quarantine, and then testing negative with X amount of days of no symptoms. So there we are with those numbers. I know a lot of people watch and probably were waiting for me to give those numbers. But yeah, so that was, I'll give them again one more time before the end of the show. So now what can people do? Can they register yet for these programs?
We just opened up registrations yesterday. Since it's a limited number, we put it out on our Facebook page, and we did an email blast of everyone that participated in our program last year. So since there's limited numbers, you can register online, or you can come to our office and fill out a registration form, and we'll take your registration at the office at Barrett Park. The office is closed to the public, but if you knock on the window, we'll have the forms right outside in a packet outside the door. If you knock on the door, someone will come to the door and take your registration information and your payment. So you can do it that way.
And the rec department, we have one of the most active rec departments anywhere. I mean, we're always looking for something to do, keep kids busy. It's sad because I think we reached that point where in the summer, there was summer schools were able to offer some programming. We had the Boys and Girls Club. We have, the recreation department. Some of the parochial schools did some things. And we had
Creative Choices.
Creative Choices, exactly. Right. And so at the end of the day, we kept a lot of kids busy and doing positive things, right?
Yes.
And again, I'm hoping that this is a one-time thing, and that they find a cure and a vaccine for this, because we also have to be looking at programs for the fall.
Correct.
And think of all the fall sports that we have. And I'm talking to Judy Sumner. She is the director at the Leominster Public Recreation Department. Judy, how many years? Almost as many as me, right?
How many years you've been there?
27.
Then I've been here 27
Yeah,
years. You hired me your first year.
I don't think we hired anybody else but you.
You hired me your first year as mayor, so
there you go.
Thank you.
So Judy's been with us for 27 years.
Yeah.
And as I said, my hat's off to your staff. I know Carol is going to be leaving us.
Yes, she's retiring from the recreation department. She's been with us for 20 years.
Carol
and then Anne Marie had the year before.
Marie.
She had been here, I believe, about 35
Yes.
years. She had retired.
Talk about loyalty and commitment and passion.
Yeah.
And
but we're very fortunate. We still have, Lisa Como.
Yes,
she's been with us.
does a great job.
Yes,
and then we have an active recreation commission who takes it as if it was their own. They show up to all our events. And it couldn't be any better. And so thank you.
Yeah, and J.R. Roland LaPointe Jr.
He's been here forever.
He's been here for probably as long as I have been here as well, doing maintenance and building playgrounds, building the spray park, and taking care of all the the grass and the lawns and the parks and all of that.
Right.
And this year it's been a lot of people are at Barrett Park. It's unbelievable. The parking lot is full every day.
Every one of ours.
It's wonderful to see all these families are coming, people pushing their strollers, big groups, mothers and fathers and young children.
And they're hitting the trails too.
They are. They're all walking and they're playing in the open field, but social distancing. And there's so many people fishing. It's wonderful
people
to
haven't
see.
been fishing, they told me. People used to go fishing all the time. See, your time just gets eaten up by other things, and then pretty soon you used to go fishing 5 times a year, and then you're older you get, you got grandkids, I don't know, whatever's going on, and then pretty soon it's a couple times, and then I've heard people say, I've been fishing in years, or I haven't done this, and boy, I've lived here for a long time, and I didn't know about that Barrett Park, or I didn't know about, I did one of my shows from Hershey Park, and people I didn't realize. That was Hershey Park.
And kids are riding their bicycles too.
Yeah. Can't buy a bicycle at this point.
So so that was nice.
978-534. I'm sorry, 978-5377760. That's the number to call. Just about 10 minutes left here at Inside Leominster. Did want to remind you, a number of our restaurants got approval to serve alcohol for outdoor dining. Now there are some restaurants that do not have a liquor license. And so they're just going to do regular, let me just make sure, Super Wings is on here. So some restaurants do not have alcohol, so they can't serve alcohol now, but most of the ones that can serve alcohol have gotten permission from the city and license commission to serve outdoors. And so you can expect more of that. Some people are just ramping up, but anything you can do to support these businesses. It's been tough for all small businesses. Some closed for over 13 weeks, and that's a struggle, and we feel it. And so whatever you can do, you know, having a birthday party, you can afford a little extra, you know, head out and you know, head out to one of our restaurants. And everyone that has been open thus far has asked me to thank you for patronizing their businesses and basically keeping them alive, you know, during the last 13 weeks. Judy, anything else that we should know?
The tennis courts are open. I know that's been very, very popular this year, so we're selling keys to the courts, a limited number. We'll have to see how it goes. If there's way too many people on the courts, we're going to have to cut off the sale of those. But at this time, you can come to our office and purchase a key. For Leominster residents, it's $30 for first-time key purchasers. Or, if you're a returning person returning a key, it's $25. So all the guidelines will be posted right outside on the courts in terms of the safety guidelines put out by the United States Tennis Association. And also the ball fields in the city that we have license agreements with, they have opened for team practices only.
Okay.
So, you know, just anybody just can't go out on fields and have pickup games and things of that nature.
So they can do practice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caller, welcome to the show.
Sir.
Caller? Is there a caller there? Nope. We had a blinking light. Does that mean we're almost done?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, this is Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
Good. I'm calling to when this thing is going to be ending.
Well, the numbers are coming down, which is good, but we still have to practice social distancing, and when we're around other people, wear our mask, and when we go into stores, wear our mask. But when there's nobody else around, right, you can take your mask off and walk around, but you got to wear it going into businesses. You can take it off for, a number of reasons, but if you're running or walking or not near anybody, or you can stay 6 feet away from people. But the numbers are going down, and as long as we continue to be responsible, then it's going to go away. And they are, from what I heard this morning, there are a number of vaccines that are like months away.
Oh, okay.
All right? But, yes.
It's nice talking to you.
All right, Barbara, take care.
Mayor, in your folder, I have the list of some of the activities that Amy's Art Tavern is putting together to offer in the community.
Awesome.
I don't know if you would see that in there. They're going to do like a letterboxing, walking sticks.
Awesome.
They're going to do Wildlife Week. They're going to do Creative Week, Art and Nature Week, Mystical Week, Community Sculpture Week, Pirate Theater Week. So right now, I'm working with them to see if they can do an afternoon program so that when children finish our program in the morning, parents can come on their lunch break and pick them up and bring them over to Monument Park for Amy's Art Tavern programs.
How do you register for those programs? Do you have to call Amy, or can you register through the rec department?
Well, right now I'm working with Amy. She'll be doing the registration.
Okay.
So she hasn't set the prices and all of the times and everything else. So hers will be for a couple of hours, or parents can go there and have lunch with their kids, and then.
Right, they have a kitchen in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can have something to eat. Also, too, the Spanish Center said that they would provide breakfast and lunch for our program as well. So
excellent.
when the children come to us in the morning, we'll have breakfast for them, and then there'll be a bag lunch they can either take home with them, or parents can sit in the park, take their bag lunch and have lunch with them as well.
Good job.
So.
Thank you, Judy.
Okay.
And again, that's Judy Sumner, and she's the director at the Leominster Recreation Department. And more to follow. We'll make sure we update you as to what's going on, but we're trying to come up with as many programs, even using partnerships to do so. I will give you the numbers one more time. If you're just joining us, we usually do our Inside Leominster show on Thursday nights from 6:30 to 7:30, but since we've been doing these afternoon updates at 4 o'clock, we decided to do them as well at 4 o'clock and merge them with our. Is that a caller? Caller, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dean. It's Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm just calling to remind people that even though COVID-19 has kind of taken over our lives, cancer doesn't sleep, so
That's
neither
right.
do we.
That's right, Sandy.
And this weekend would have been our relay.
I know.
So on Friday night, tomorrow night, we're doing what we call a virtual relay. So if you go to facebook.com/Greater Gardner, Mass, MA, you can see the virtual relay where we'll have the survivors and the teams and the opening ceremonies. Beautiful national anthem sung by Lavender D'Arcangelo, which I think we all know by now, and she's gorgeous. And from 8:30 to 9:30, we're going to have a drive-by luminaria service in Gardner.
Nice.
So people can still donate. They can purchase a luminaria bag for $5 for a loved one or someone who's fighting cancer. And obviously more than ever, because most of the relays have been canceled, anything you can do to help us would be greatly appreciated.
All right, Sandy, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All
and
right.
Have a great day.
Yes. We would have normally been doing our show from downtown tonight as we light the City Hall blue. And let's see if I can get back to the numbers one more time, and then we got to go. Total cases in Leominster, 158, so we're down 5. We're up around 159. It went up a little bit, came back down. 464 completed. They're off, testing negative, so that's good. You want that number to be, 600 or 700, and you want it to be down to 5 total cases testing positive. State cases, we've reached that 100,000 milestone, 354 of an increase today. Total deaths up 37. Total tests 10,800, so about 11,000 tests given, and total amount in down in Worcester County is basically 65. So those are our numbers. Now, tomorrow's Friday, the weekend's coming, Judy, and get on your bike, get out there into the trails, get into the parks when it gets hot. There's no better place. I've stood with people at Carter Park, and they've said, geez, I've always driven by, but I've never stopped. And, and the Colonial Band is looking at maybe having their concerts downtown. It's a little more spread out. And so some things are salvageable, and it's really based on the fact that are we disciplined enough to keep our distance, or when we can't, wear our mask, right? And so for me, it's pretty easy. It's wear your mask when you can't social distance, wash your hands, and put hand sanitizer on. I never thought the day I'd be okay wearing a mask, and I am. I just pop it on, I take it off, it's on my chin if nobody's around. I've got them in my car. They're all over the place. Anything else to close out with, Judy?
No, I just want to thank you for all your support for our programs and our activities and our staff, and look forward for a great summer. It's very, very busy right now.
Yeah, no, it is. And we want to keep kids busy and keep that, what they've learned in school, and keep that, retention. And we ran programs for kids with special needs. I mean, we did it all, and it's just, I guess we've got to take a step back. Okay, we're out of time here. Keith and Bradley say that, but thank you both for coming on. Thank you for watching. We'll be on tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock for our morning update. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com. And by Medical Arts Hearing Instruments, 52 West Street in Leominster, locally and authentically providing better hearing and quality of life since 1978. www.donotshout.com.